the spirit world, an experience with Datura, posted by Agent 11421 on Arrowwood.org on July 19th, 2005. I had heard a lot of reports about Datura and was anxious to try it. Knowing the dangerous effects of the plant, I decided to start out with a small dose. I tried chewing 4 seeds, but after an hour, they'd seemed to have no effect. I then chewed another 4 seeds, but again, the same results. None. I decided to get braver with the next night. I chewed 20 seeds. After an hour, I felt nothing again. Now I was getting frustrated, and I tried 40 seeds, but once again, I was disappointed with no effect. At this point, I gave up on the seeds. I then tried smoking the leaves, and I smoked 4 Datura cigarettes, one after the other, which had no effect whatsoever. I live alone and was unbothered by anybody. Being mindful of the dangers of Datura, I took no unnecessary chances. I waited until late evening, about 7 p.m., to try the dry leaves. I took a handful of dry leaves and boiled them in 3 cups of water for 30 minutes. The concoction was very dark in color, and I strained the liquid with my strainer into a coffee mug. It smelled and tasted awful, so I sweetened it with 2 tablespoons of honey and drank it down quickly. I was immensely surprised at how quick the effects came on. Within 10 to 15 minutes, I began to get a feeling of being drunk. I knew that my best bet was to head straight to bed, where I felt I would be safest. My usual nightly custom was to bring a glass of water into my bedroom with me, but this night I was drunk by the Datura and lost my balance and fell against the wall and down onto the floor, breaking the glass in the process. I returned to the kitchen sink and filled another glass of water, but again my legs gave way under me and I fell down like a drunkard. Again, I filled a glass with water, but somehow slipped out of my hands and crashed to the floor. By the time I finally made it to my bedroom, I had broken 5 glasses, but I wasn't aware of it until the next morning when I saw the damage. Finally resting in my bed, I fell asleep quickly. I had an extremely vivid and realistic dream of an invisible being grabbing me and throwing me headfirst into a wall. Try as I did, I was unable to see it at all. Again, he picked me up and slammed me headfirst into the wall. Then it began to beat me. It grabbed my forearm and snapped it in 2. My bones were protruding from my flesh, and my blood was squirting high in the air. I pleaded with the being to leave me alone, but it showed me no mercy. It picked me up again and slammed me headfirst into the wall once more. At that point, I woke up and realized I was dreaming, but I nonetheless was quite shaken by the whole ordeal. I had the strangest feeling that the being was punishing me for entering the spirit world and wanted to teach me a lesson. I tried to sit up in bed, but felt a very strong gravitational pull as I did do so. Sort of like the force of gravity was making it difficult for me to sit up, but this did not scare me, and I thought a little of it. I looked around the room, and everything seemed to be normal. Suddenly a powerful surge came over me. I instantly made a side ball with my hands and tossed it at the wall. It tore a large hole in the wall, which worried me because I feared that my landlord would find out and evict me. At this point, I laid down and went back to sleep. What I didn't realize at the time is that I was never awake at any time at all. All of it was a very vivid, clear dream. The next morning, I arose and went to my kitchen to prepare my morning coffee. As I sat at the kitchen table, a sight frightened me. It was my beloved house cat. She was laying on the floor, still and lifeless, and her body was bloated. I watched her lifeless body. My heart was deeply saddened. I could only conclude that she must have drunk some of the Datura brew from the pot on the stove and died from it. Sadly, I sat at the kitchen table for about an hour when I noticed my cat was changing shape. I approached her closely and found that it wasn't my black cat at all. It was my black leather jacket. I'm happy to say that my cat was fine and in good health. I had no further effects from the Datura after that, unpleasant experience, which seemed to have an evil connotation to it. I flushed the remaining Datura down my toilet and haven't tried at it again since. I was grateful that I was alone because I believe if I had a sitter, he or she may have panicked when I fell so many times and have rushed me to the hospital, and that would have wrecked my career. One thing is certain, everybody's metabolism is different. I'm convinced the dosage I took would have most probably been lethal to someone else. My advice is to steer clear of this plant.